Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. This is Griever, Sir Griever, from your Behind the Luscious Bar reviews. This week's chapter of His Grand Majesty himself, the very King Harlequin himself, has fully matured in this chapter 281 of Nanatsu no Taizai, also known as Seven Deadly Sins. But in this particular chapter, we will only be focusing on the one sin, the sin of the king. The king himself has finally matured, has risen, and okay, that's enough of that. Anyways, guys, this chapter was pretty damn good. This chapter, I enjoyed it, though there is an issue with it that I foresee, though I have a retcon to kind of solve the issue. The issue is power. The issue is power. They've been hyping up that when Harlequin is also, once again, Harlequin, the Fairy King was always strong. He was strong when we were first introduced to him. He was holding himself back in a lot of battles, but he truly is a force to be reckoned with. He is the Fairy King. But Gloxinia and everyone, we've all been boosting up the idea of what happens when he goes fully mature. Well, now he's done a Toshiro Hitsugaya Bankai sort of thing, you know, let's appease the women, and this Elvis Presley butterfly thing going on here, but he has grown up into a teenage form. His wings are nice and big and massive. As I said, I had hoped that they would be far more impressive than this. To me, I thought that these should be have a very unique shape or just something in the design should have been more than just butterfly wings. However, still, even though people are making the jokes that it's Elvis and stuff like that, and I made plenty of those jokes myself, I kind of like the design of King. It suits his character, it goes along with it. He didn't get all buff, he didn't become Escanor overnight sort of idea. No, this suits Harlequin, this suits King. And I am totally on board with it. The issue lies in power. At the end of the last review, I explained that because they've stated, now this could be wrong, but assuming that it's right, that they were saying that Estamel has roughly around 200,000 power level. Remember that Escanor between 11 and noontime is at 114.9. So that is substantial. That is a substantial amount of stupid amount of power. Now, I still bring up my wing theory about this. I believe that Estamel at the time may have been teetering around that, but every time he uses that love ball of destruction or the scythe of silence, or every time he's using the commandment, similar to how Escanor's power rises with the sun, I believe it has nothing to do with the sun, but I believe that Estamel's power, this is a very unstable fusion, and it's actually slowly draining second by second. And every time he uses it up, think of his power level as a mana pool. And he's just been throwing out ultimate techniques, super Kamehamehas, final flashes, spirit bombs, all that fun jazz. He's throwing them out for fun. He's throwing them out like it's penny change. The issue is that he's slowly losing strength. And I think King recognizes this, because I am on board with King getting a new form. I'm also on board with the true form of Fairy King being Harlequin, being, as Gloxinia predicted, when you are fully matured, when your wings fully spout, you will be likely the most powerful fairy in history. So I'm on board with this. Giving him a power level of 100k plus, easy. If he's under 100, it'd be insulting. So, as I predicted, I would give him 115 to 125. I push it to 150, but I still think and right now, he's not using 150, because we see him doing all this crazy shit in this chapter. It's good, but he's clearly not like, I'm using all my power, so to give him 150 would be a little, I could see it, but I still think that's a bit of a stretch. During all this, as I said before, Estamel had thrown off love balls and all this stuff. I think that right now, he's at a gas. Those third wings was not an editor mistake. Now, once again, I haven't heard anything that they were a, artist mistake sort of idea. But assuming this, we can assume that a third of Estimal's true power is already gone. So by that logic, if you do the math, this is kind of working out. Now, if we can assume that my theory of that this unstable fusion is leaking out magical power, just emanating off of him. It's draining. It's like a faucet. He's just spouting power ridiculously, but his initial fusion probably had 200,000+ power to go off of. So it's not, and once again, he's not really coherent, as we see, because at the beginning of the chapter, King is like, looking all badass, and they're all like, oh, he's reading hearts and stuff, don't worry, Deanne, did he read my heart and stuff? And he reads mail. He starts to read mail, and we know this because even Elizabeth can't hear all this stuff, and we see that Estimal here is totally conflicted. He's totally conflicted. He's Elizabeth, hatred, wrath, I'll never understand. Why me? Why me? Oh, just stay away from me. I don't know what I'm doing. Help. Like, he's all over the map. He's just going from one direction to the other. And he's just this psychotic, just mind just has totally snapped into these personalities can't coexist. And it doesn't help that the corruption of the commandments is slowly just eating at his mind. So, well, it's a battle, and I'd like to call it a battle, but really this is a curb stomping. This is cool. This is something I did not expect, and I like this. Harlequin, like, 8th form, Pollen Garden, don't worry about that love ball anymore. And they're like, King, if you do that, what's going to happen when he attacks you? How are you going to attack him? He's like, he's coming, then 4th form, Guardian. Like, and this Guardian looks like he would be a match for Dolar, for God's sakes. This Guardian is beefy. He's got the multiple arms thing, like, the Giant King. It's like, whoa. This is looking really cool. And I like the look of the Pollen Garden protection shield. That looks really cool. So then we find out he can do 2 forms. I'm like, that actually makes sense. The most powerful fairy king, what would make him stronger? Well, if he can do like up to the 9 forms, it might be a 10th form or something. I don't believe we've ever seen Spirit Spear 10th form, but maybe we did. That might have been that crazy armor thing. I thought that was the 9th form. But even if that's the case, what would make him so much better? Just giving them the same abilities, making them beefier? Of course they're making him beefier, but what if he's so strong that he can actually divide his Spirit Spear into multiple things? And he does. He uses Increase, and he uses 1st form Chastiful the Spear. At first I thought it was Sunflower, but according to the translation, I think it's wrong. I think that this is True Spirit Form Chastiful Sunflower, because it looks like a flower, and it's a beam of light that totally, singed Estimal, all the hell he's burnt to a crisp and all that such. So I think that that's translation error, and this was Sunflower, but I'm not 100% on that, guys. I don't know 100%. Either way, he's pulling out multiple, at bare minimum 3. Bare minimum, he's pulling out 3 Spirit Form Chastifolds, and they are kicking the crap out of Estimal like it's nothing. So once again, I believe that if the 200,000 thing was right for his power level, I believe he's been slowly draining it to the point that right now he's leaking. He might be between 100 and 150. And that's why King is able to have such an easy time with him. Because if he's truly 200,000 and his power has not waned, not one bit, that means King has at least 200 plus bare minimal, and I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I'm sorry, guys, because that curb stomps everybody's power level. That's like introducing Super Saiyan 3 during the Frieza saga. Like, it's too OP for the level cap that we've established here. It's okay to increase, but when you jump up that high, it's just like, what's the point of the other characters? By this logic, King's going to just be able to walk into Camelot, deal with Chandler, Cusack, Zeldris, just slap them all in the face, and that's the end. Like, what could anybody do to that? So I'm sticking to my guns here, believing that right now Estimal is below 150,000. That's what I'm believing, and I believe King is teetering around that 125, 150 between there somehow. And right now, and he's slowly losing the energy, of course. Meanwhile, King's just firing off because he's at full strength right now with his full maturity. He's probably got an infinite mana pool of, I'm doing this stuff. So that's all fine and good. Other than him kicking the crap out of him, and it is kind of brought up that he's slowly like losing like his magical power is unstable right now, and he's kind of losing it, sort of idea that he may already be lost. And there's a nice speech that King gives to him and such. But at the end of the day, it's just about losing people, and you've lost things precious to you. I've lost things. We're quite similar, but at the end of the day, you can't turn back the clock. You just have to move forward. You have to think about what's still precious to you right now that's still around. You know, you have to break free of this chain and stuff. So, you know, hatred, just sorrow and all that stuff. Nice speech, but anyways. The end of the chapter showcases Gother. Gother is still trapped by purity, the instance of purity. He's still encased in that, and Nadja is still talking to him. Now, Nadja, once again, this situation, I'm not fully convinced. I don't understand what exactly this is going on. Clearly, this is meant to be Nadja actually brought back, like her soul. But it doesn't make sense to me, because Nadja would not have done this, I don't believe. So this is a copy, sort of like what Gother did to Escanor with the Merlin, giving the shit-eating grin and all that stuff, you know, a twisted version to give him a nightmare more than anything, right? Because this is not just saying, you know, you took away my purity and my heart, so now you have to suffer for all eternity, be bound by these heavy sins. Nadja would not have seen these as sins. She doesn't believe that these are sins committed by Gother. That is incorrect. So even though I like Gother's reasoning as of, you know, no regrets, like, you know, you can have those regrets for the rest of your life, and Gother wakes up like, thank goodness, and I was like, huh? It's like, no, I'm not bound by regrets, so we're all good, I can get out of this, because I gotta go help my friends. It's just like, you know, because I have never regretted meeting you once, every single moment, even knowing everything that happened, I would go through it again, and again, and again, and again. I would do it 1,000 times, because that would mean I still got to meet and treasure you for the limited time we had. And I'm like, okay, that logic's solid, like that, Gother's still a nice guy. I like that whole situation. The problem with this is, and not only Nadja going, what? And then the end shot of her going, oh, well, then it's kind of fine then, and hugs him and smiles, you know, like, you know, good for you, Gother sort of idea. She says something like that. I'm like, okay, but if this is like supposed to be an evil version that's just meant to torment him, to bring him into despair, it's not working. And this thing, like, it can't be Nadja's true soul, because she wouldn't have agreed to do that, even pulled from the depths, kind of like the Elaine Darkness thing. And if it's the Elaine Darkness thing, like Melasukla's, you know, ability there, then it doesn't make sense, because she was turned way too quickly, and she wasn't very evil to begin with, you know. So I'm a little confused about Nadja's portrayal in this. Is this supposed to truly be her, and she's at a character, or trying to teach Gother a lesson or something? I don't get that. And if it's not, then why does a curse or a commandment version, or this nightmarish version of Nadja to try to hold Gother down, why is it surprised? And why is it acting like Nadja when Gother's like, thank you for, you know, like, why is she emotional? Once again, this is just me kind of rambling, guys, but I didn't really fully get how all this sort of went down. So anyway, a little confusing. End of the chapter shows up. Hawk and Gother wakes up. He's like, okay, let's fly over Mail, sort of idea, because Mail's just losing it. And King's like, Elizabeth's like, come on, open your eyes, open your eyes. Elizabeth's just like, you know, Mail, please do this. And Mail's just like losing it. He can't control himself anymore. And Harlequin is just kind of like, it might be too late for him. He's been warped. Even if he was one of the 4 archangels, you know, his power's been corrupted. He's got double personality. He's gone insane with hatred and all this stuff. He's totally lost. On top of that, these 4 commandments have been slowly corrupting him, and they don't belong in his body. We might not be able to save him. This is when Gother, once again, he's like flying overhead. He jumps down. He's like, invasion. So he is going to go inside of Mail or Estimail's soul to try to deviate between the two and find the real Mail. And it'll probably be one of those situations where, like, you know, sitting kind of there in the fetal position sort of thing, the young version of Mail that we saw way back when, you know, just sitting there crying, realizing he can't do anything, and maybe a bunch of Esther Roses surrounding him, being like, "You're evil, you're evil." Like, you did all these terrible things, your sins can never be forgiven, blah, blah, blah. And this is where Gothar's probably going to have to sacrifice himself, I'm thinking. This is so hell-bent on sacrificing Gothar, it seems. He may have to sacrifice himself to pull Mael out of this depression and bring him back. It might be the cost of Gothar's life. So, really interesting. I like the build-up for the next chapter because, as I said, this is my assumption for the next chapter, or what's going to happen in the next chapter. We might jump over to somebody else. I know I keep saying that, but it feels like we will be. He's going to go inside of Estmael's mind. What he's going to find, as I said, I believe he'll search for his true soul, the true young male who could never hurt anybody, and hopefully pull him out of it. So, kind of weird way to end this, because this antagonist seemed to be like the epitome of what was going to happen. Now, I didn't believe this was going to be the final boss of this manga, but at the same time, this just seems kind of a weird way to end it, though I am happy about Harlequin's transformation. I'm happy about Gothar's character. Nadja felt a little weird once again. Don't really know what's going on with the whole incense of purity sort of deal. But this is the new look for King grew on me. I kind of liked it in this chapter, and him acting like such a badass was really cool to see. So yeah, what did you guys think of the chapter? What did you think of my review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe as always, and bow to your king. Not me. This is just first-rate electrician, which of course I am. Thanks guys for watching. This has been Griever with your 7 Deadly Sins, Chapter 281 review. See you back here next time. Drink responsibly on this Monday, like I clearly am, and we'll see you next time.